call to order the Etna Township Board of Trustees special meeting here on Monday, August 25th, 2025 at 5 p.m. Roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
Here.
Mr. Burkholder?
Here.
Ms. McKee? Here.
Here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll move to adopt the agenda. Is there a second? So moved. Discussion.
Yes, I'd just like to point out that this special meeting was called without even contacting me to see if I was available. This is a clear another indication that Mr. Burkholder is not willing to work cooperatively together, despite what his words say. His actions show otherwise. When I was board president, I asked all those involved if they can make it and scheduled accordingly. And again, this just shows that Mr. Burkholder's words mean nothing, but his actions show his true intention, that he does not work cooperatively.
So noted. Roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
Any public comments at this time? You have 3 minutes, and those comments would pertain to the agenda.
And I would just like to state that is not legally correct, and this board still refuses to verify that. So
Go ahead.
you're infringing people's First Amendment rights.
Letitia McIntyre, 15 3rd Avenue Southwest. I'm actually coming as the board president for the zoning commission, just to ask some advice. Being that we are going to be losing our administrative assistant, unfortunately, and our clerk, will we be appointed a new clerk, or will one of us have to take on the duties for the time being?
Well, it'd be my hope that we appoint a clerk, possibly depending on who we hire as administrative assistant, that we can get you some support as well, because we have minutes and I think it's been indicated that you obviously need that kind of support for the commission.
Yes.
That's my view. Do my colleagues have any comments?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yes, we actually need 2 positions. We need an administrative assistant, we need a secretary. There was too much, and still too much placed on Ms. Palumbo's shoulders. I've been stating that for I don't know how long. Now I see we have on this discussion, hired an administrative assistant, yet with the job description that I proposed back in March. So I've been trying for a long time to get the help needed, and it's been refused. So I really think we need to bring 2 people in at minimum, and so we'll see how it goes.
May I make another comment?
Yes, ma'am.
Understand where you're at, Mr. Evans, but Ms. McKee over there has mentioned that several times as well, and it's on record that she has said that we've needed additional help in the office. You have the past, so I mean, I'm happy to go back here.
So why did they block action? I proposed it numerous times, but they refused to.
Well, if the board could work together like human beings, we wouldn't have this problem.
And I just pointed out that they didn't, and you laughed, that the board president did not consult with me to see if I could attend this meeting.
Well, if I had, you would have said that was a open meeting violation.
No, it's not. We've gone over this time and time again.
I'll make a comment about the position as well. Yes, it's unfortunate though. Let the record show the reason we're losing employees is because of the toxic environment that trustee Mark Evans has created.
No, I've heard Mr. Burkholder yelling like at a child at our zoning inspector to look at him when he berates him. I've heard, so don't try to pin it on me, but I've tried to push through this board, getting more help, and you won't even get proper workstations for people.
You can grandstand all you want.
No, it's documented.
I'll call the question.
Just
Anyone else
call
at
the
this time?
question.
Anyone else at this time?
Yeah,
Well,
go
go ahead.
That's fine, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Ms. iPad,
No.
you do your thing, please.
Thank you, David.
I just
Sure, you're fine.
Shelley Marie Podge, 114 Royalty Drive. I see on an item is discussion for the JED and JEDC upcoming appointments. I'm glad to see this. If you remember, I commented a couple months ago that we have that the vacancies coming up. And I know there's at least half a dozen vacancies probably across all the boards. And I would love to see more residents get involved. So for any of the residents listening or watching, it is worthwhile, it is volunteer, but it's worthwhile if you want to serve your community and help steward over the township. So that, and I also wanted to say I recognize there's a couple other appointed positions that have expired, and I've been a business professional my whole career, and I have experienced firsthand how serious and important it is to retain knowledge, retain experience. It's always great to come in with fresh new ideas and you want to make things better and, you know, clean house and start all over. That's not, too many things fall through the cracks that way. You lose best practices, you lose insight, you lose experience, knowledge, and we've actually experienced that on one of the boards that I was in where something came up and Rosalind and I we were having to sit next to each other like, well, wait a minute. We were in partnership for the refugee road. And anyway, long story short, we might be able to help with that. You know, use the township, use the JED funds for the better of the township. Another example of, I believe Mr. Carlisle had put a clause into a JED agreement that prohibits, and Brownsburg agreed that they wouldn't annex past a certain point. Well, they decided they wanted to challenge that. They did take it to Lincoln County Court a couple of years ago, and the court upheld the JEDC. So we do have some good knowledge and experience I hate to see lost.
Yes.
I don't in any way want to exclusively say just one trustee. It would be great. I know all of our trustees are interested and have experience. So I think it's great to have our trustees involved on the JED and JEDCs, and that's probably.
Can I ask you a question? What court case was that, or who did that involve? The challenge to the annexation agreement?
The city of Reynoldsburg. I'm pretty sure it was the city of Reynoldsburg.
Do you have that court case?
No, I'm not a lawyer. You know, and here's something else. This is my public comments. I don't like it when the residents come up to share comments and opinions, and they are challenged to speak.
No, this is about
and
information.
interrupted. I don't have that information, but I can tell you it happened, I want to say 3 years ago. It might be easy to find out. 3 years ago. It happened 2020. I think it's
I waited,
30
for the
seconds.
record, I waited until you were done, so there's
30
no
seconds.
interruption.
Yeah.
But this is about getting the proper information,
Please,
and this is the
speak.
second time you've mentioned it, but you don't have the source, so I'm trying to
Okay,
determine
not very
that.
good.
Mr. Evans, stop.
I don't have to
She's
have the
speaking, she's a
source. I'm
resident.
commenting on things that already are on record. You can find that in the JEDC agreement. You can find the clause. You can probably.
No, I'm talking about the challenge.
You
Okay.
can find that, like I said, you can find that on court records, I'm sure. I don't have it in my back pocket.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
And
Anyone
I
else
would
at
like
this
to be an
time?
expert.
No, but you're. it's
Thank
not
you
very
very
much.
much.
Thanks,
Right.
Shelley.
Anyone else like to speak at this
Yeah,
time?
I'll just say
Go ahead.
that, back to our discussion on the administrative assistant, and also, we did have an administrator in here that did a good job by herself. She did not have the assistant at all. I know that a lot of things are happening here in the township, things are moving forward. It's unfortunate that we're gonna lose a really good person here in our township, Holly. She's done a good job for what she's had to endure. And we're hoping that we can get somebody in here as soon as possible, full-time, and get things continue to move forward.
Sir, go ahead.
John Kennard, 10785 Palmer Road. I was kind of waiting to see if Mark would speak, but I guess I gotta go ahead and put some resident hat on. But, you know, every meeting here starts with negativity. The very first thing that, we get through the Lord's Prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance and question everything and everybody else does. Now he's trying to blame stop, but yet he stands up here and tries to point the finger. Now, at election time is here, he is, starting this, well, it's her fault. It's their fault because people have accidents. It's their fault because, it doesn't rain or shine on the right day. I mean, it's just constantly blaming somebody else. And what happened over the weekend with his forum, was really pretty bad, that he would call the sheriff on a resident. I mean, I don't know what really happened. I wasn't here, but what you see on the Facebook, it's just pretty sad that, the township building and facilities are being used in this kind of, environment. It's just, I don't know, almost speechless anymore. Thank you.
Thank you.
Plus picking on the zoning people, there is not a department or an organization or a section at the township that is not run right or run correctly, according to Mark's word.
And so I can't rely on you guys allowing me to comment like you guys commented. I could say the road department, they do their jobs and do it well for any of the trustees. However, it's fiscal officer that I think you were trying to say, and actually Walter Rogers resigned at our first meeting when Rosalind McKee and I were elected. So how did I do anything? It just shows that what you are just full of false narratives, and I wouldn't even say facts because I don't think there are any facts there. But what I will say is when people make a claim such as there's a court case and never verified it, so they must be taking the word of somebody else and can't provide the facts. That's what I do. You do your due diligence, you make sure what someone told you is correct, and then you can provide the facts. So I will verify that, but challenge 3 years ago? No. Reynoldsburg did attempt to annex outside, encourage the developer outside the annexation agreement next to following community for 2 warehouses, but I pushed back at it on it when our board refused to even discuss it publicly. This is getting ridiculous here, but as far as support for our staff, I've been pushing time and time again, and it's been nothing but blocked and ignored. And Ms. McKee mentioned previous administrator, Ms. Hanson, she didn't have an assistant. Yes, she did.
I did not say that.
You called it, yes, you.
No, I did not. I said administrative assistant.
We'll look back at the video,
No,
but
thank you.
whether you called it a secretary or administrative assistant, it's the same thing. But we need staff, we need proper workstations. I had to meet today with individuals, and there's not a proper place to do it. How are you going to attract anybody to work here at folding tables? You smirk all you want. This is not a proper work environment. And again, I push time and time again to get Ms. Bloomble help. Blocked, since March and before that. Why? I mean, I don't understand it. And then you don't let staff work overtime. Ms. McKee constantly badgers staff that you can't work from home when you can bring a laptop and certainly work from home.
20 seconds.
And I've actually heard that, I won't even say it, but this is beyond ridiculous. And regarding Mr. Kennard's statements about this weekend, he said it himself. I don't know what happened, but he sure has an opinion. That's just called ignorance.
Anyone else? Very good. New business, item A. I'll make a motion that we discuss the hiring of an administrative assistant or secretary. Is there a second for
I'll
discussion?
second.
Very good. What's the pleasure of the board?
Well, I would like to see somebody else here. I mean, Holly did give us a notice, so I think our responsibility is to get somebody in here. Maybe if we get them in here quick enough that you can spend some time with them before you leave, that would be awesome. So I'd like to see that happen.
Any discussion on the job description?
Well, yeah, I'm a little confused. We're talking about hiring an administrative assistant and the secretary job description there. They're two different jobs. We have, I believe, administrative assistant job description, do we not?
What's the one you provided,
But
Mr. Evans?
the one I provided was for the secretary help to the administrative assistant, because again, their duties, diverge a little bit. And one thing about notices and that, I've been pushing time and time again for years for a procedure manual, so that if there's vacations, sicknesses, or people leaving, the business of this township can continue, and I've been blocked and stifled at every turn. So now here we are again, that we've got a rush to bring somebody in, and I don't know why our zoning chair is smirking, but this is serious business, and I've been pushing again. This is part of proper administration. When somebody's gone, it shouldn't be a rush, or we can't do anything, everything stops. The focus right now, and I even emailed it, it should be procedure manual, document. I called for a special session as soon as it happened, again, delayed. And previously, we had a zoning inspector that put in a resignation on January, was it 2nd or 3rd was our meeting? It wasn't even discussed until February 20th, and it wasn't even advertised until February 28th. And that was only putting it on our website, not really getting it out there. That's why I keep bringing stuff up, because nothing is handled properly or timely. I mean, has there been any work done on the procedure manual?
Well, you want an answer, or you want to use the rest
I
of the
just
56 seconds?
I just asked you a question.
I'll be more than happy to answer. I recall vividly, we've asked you repeatedly, Trustee Evans, to come in and work with the staff. You had an outline of a policy procedure. The request was made. You've been invited more than once to take on a project and to work with current staff, and you refused to do it. Your typical response is, I have an office at home, I work there. So you like to assign these things, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Yeah, we do need policies and procedures.
Where is a workspace?
But you don't ever follow through. You like to assign it to others and then blame them.
That is a lie, because I created the procedure manual template. It auto-indexes. I even put the ones that I knew about in there. Now, just like the master calendar, I've reached out to staff and no staff responded. Zero. Now, about coming in, where is my work area here? Should I put a TV tray up next? No, this is my time.
No, it's expired. You had 2 minutes and you ran it down.
2 times,
and
2
you ran
minutes.
it down.
No. So, what am I supposed to do? Get a TV tray and put it out there?
We're supposed to be talking.
That's what I'm talking about.
You're
is
off- you're
right
off- you're
right
off-
now.
you're
No,
off
I'm not. Right
topic.
now, the current administrative assistant needs to be diligently working on documenting those procedures, and I bet the passwords aren't even put into one password.
They're not going to be, Mr. Evans. That's a breach of cybersecurity. You have threatened the current administrative assistant to get access, and that if she
That
didn't give
is
you
part
access,
of the employee manual.
well, it's still a breach of
It's
security.
public record.
Doesn't matter.
According to the ORC, when we had a meeting a few weeks ago,
Yes.
you said when Jackie had brought up the mention of passwords not being public records, you said that was according to ORC. They're not
No.
public
Jackie's
records.
saying
They're
it.
public records. We have to.
Our employee manual
Will you
requires.
please let me finish?
Let her finish, Mr.
I have been
Evans.
very respectful for all the negativity that has been
You
brought
have
to my attention. Yes, I have. Trust me.
You've
I have.
been insubordinate.
Okay. Okay. This is, you guys.
Does
this
the
is-
employee manual not state?
Does also the employee manual not suggest that public officials are not to harass or discriminate
Correct.
And I
among
don't-
the employees? Yes, it does.
No.
Yes,
It's
it
called
does.
oversight.
No, it's not. What you are doing is not.
Have you missed training meetings repeatedly? Not
I'm
putting
not
in a
having this
calendar?
discussion with you anymore. Thank you, guys. I enjoyed working here.
Once again, Mr. Evans, you demonstrated.
I will not sit here and I will not tolerate this behavior. I've said for long enough. and not been able to voice my opinion or say anything. And I try to be very, very respectful for you, and even when you threaten me with termination. But this is enough.
Do you know who
You're out of
threatened with
order,
termination, Ms.
You're out
McKee?
of order, Mr.
Mr.
Evans.
Evans, you are out of order.
I
We're
am
gonna
not.
move
You
on.
are out of order,
I
Mr.
would
Evans.
never threaten anybody. I don't act like I'm a professional, okay? You're not.
You didn't want to terminate her. You didn't want.
I will,
use her working
I
hard.
will entertain a motion to adjourn if anyone would like to adjourn. I'm not gonna tolerate this behavior.
I would second that, Mr. Burkholder.
So
Okay,
we're-
roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
No.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes,
Ms. McKee?
Yes,
we stand adjourned.
it's a shame.
More delays.
This is
Well, I
why
wonder
nothing
why.
gets done.
More
Just
delays.
saying, we are adjourned, I can speak my mind. This is why nothing gets done in this township, because nobody will agree. And I'm not being partial to anybody, but there's a lot of problems on one side of the fence over here.
It's
And I'm
called
just
accountability.
saying,
It's called accountability, and nobody has it.
everyone has accountability.
You
We're
do
being
not
accountable.
follow ORC.
But someone
We
else
do
is-
follow
when
ORC.
they accuse you of, they do.
No, we don't
Someone
pay
else
our,
in this room
we
is
don't
not
pay our
following
employees
ORC.
repeatedly, and the fiscal officer lies about it. We don't,
Oh my God, go back to
it's
me.
time and
Let's talk
time.
about
This
this.
township had
Again.
an audit and it was fine.
Mr. Evans,
Wait. How do you know about the audit? Because that is privileged at this point. So someone broke privilege and told you?
Everyone knows about the audit.
call the sheriff.
Not the findings, so that just shows that they're breaking privilege
No one told
with
me
certain,
anything.
well then, so did you lie?
Jumping to conclusions. Is that the only
Did you
thing
lie? You
that's
just said
wrong?
the audit was fine, so how do you know the audit was fine? No.
I plan on it.
Anything I
Ms.
say,
Ms.
is right, it's against me, sir.
McIntyre, you're
So it does not
documented.
matter what I say. It doesn't matter.
So once again,
Doesn't
we're
matter
gonna
what
delay
anyone else says, because
replacing
you're
an
going to turn it
employee.
into a city, use it to your agenda.
So, I mean, we've lost another
I'm
employee.
not gonna touch lights, that's for sure.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, when Ms. McKee wanted to fire her, Ms. McKee wouldn't let her work from home,
Come on,
right?
Mr. Evans, it's done and over, okay?
Just shut
Right.
the
She's
township
walked
down
out.
until after
She's
January
done.
1st.
Okay.
And
Stop.
just to let everybody
No.
know, the fraud investigation that you guys tried,
People watching.
nothing. There's no there there.
Good,
Okay.
good, wonderful. I didn't do shit.
Yeah, the whole day has been.
Yeah. And we're recording. How you doing, sir?
I'm looking for Jackie.
Coutinho?
Yes. In there?
Yes,
In
sir.
there. Yeah.
Jackie, the sheriff's here, is he?
Hi. Good luck. Deputy.
That's all right. I don't know.
There, yeah. He's here for me?
up the zoning, which is law, which that's what I think, the correct zoning resolution.
Thank you for that update, period. However, did you look into why she was told, if she was, comma, that she would have to cut the couch down to smaller size first, question mark?
Is there a separate agenda for the 6 o'clock meeting?
Yes.
Yeah, that's for the, I'll sit back.
You're staying?
Hi, how are you? Hey, stranger.
Where
It's been a while since I've seen you.
So good or
About
bad?
a year at least.
Yeah.
So that's the extra, I don't know, what it take us, and the extra year.
Ooh, I like your shoes. Those are so
On
cool.
brand.
Yeah,
The recycled shoes.
those are beautiful. And that's my size.
I think,
It comes in all kinds of bright colors, dark colors, light colors.
Should wear your pink?
And they're washable.
Oh, they're washable. Oh,
Rocky, R-O-T-H-Y.
okay.
Yep, they got a bunch of different.
Yeah, I remember when I first walked in.
Are those the teeth? Is that what you
I forgot I had them. I've had them for years.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I like flat shoes.
Yep, yep, I hear you.
fits in the white thing, so there's nobody over at the, unless Ted's here and he's sitting.
Can we put this right next to
Right
the
in
white
the end,
table?
Yeah.
That way most of the
Yeah.
audience can see
Can
it.
you put it like over there, is that fine?
I didn't want to block that either.
Oh, I'm
so-
sorry. No, but the camera's right there.
Where would you like it?
It is.
Put it on the fan and then you gotta kind of time it to see it.
If we put it like right there, then the audience can see it, and you all should have it in there. so
I
you
do it
can see
electronically, so.
Yeah. What about that? That way
Yeah,
everyone can see it.
Did you find anything,
I put them up there.
this stuff?
No, what I put up there was the sign-in and the agendas for the 6 o'clock.
If that's the worst thing that happens, that, you know, that's, and, you know, if anybody is watching it, they will see that. They will see that. And go like this, and it's like,
All over.
All right, so.
I did. Meeting adjourned. Yeah, the 6 o'clock meeting is starting right there. So that might be what you said. That's what all of these are.
Okay, well, we don't have
Oh, sorry. Ditto. I'm just trying to be helpful. Here's one more. Is this
It doesn't do any good now, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't
Oh,
matter.
well, give it to me. If it's,
It's inside the facility, so it's good to go. You haven't left yet, but
Oh, I will later, in my belly. You have a hard time getting it back.
Are these different than what's in the binder, or where?
What you received in your email is just this.
It's just a summary of everything that lands.
I got some. I just like saying that.
June, is that
Say
it?
drink. Extra strength.
I back her down to, all the one thing called T relief, capital T dash relief.
We're not starting yet, right?
So when I do anything for animals, nothing, nothing much.
Just a quick question. Are you having local vendors come? Or just?
One of my friends is really sick. I don't want to say deathly ill, because I don't really want to speak like that, but he's been in and out of emergency. He's lost 30 pounds. Vomiting, they found out he's allergic to, there's a name for it. See something S. Cannabis something.
Yes, I know. You don't believe me.
So now that the government regulates that, and there's all these manufacturers, they're putting them in, preserve crap in it. Cigarettes,
I mean,
so they develop this really syndrome where people are sick. And all those things are fat soluble ingredients.
Yeah, this is what.
I don't think,
that came in.
I think most of them don't have the teeth. Is it? Okay. That's just what I know. Yeah. But you know what I would do on my, you know what I would do on mine is instead of just gummies, I would do drugs.
It always said it.
heard some stories. Now, do you also get chiropractic adjustments and fitness? That might help that nerve stuff.
Yeah, so that's been updated, and then for 10 years, this is trying to be updated. It's just a process, it's great. So,
Oh, good. You need to do that.
yeah, in fact,
The electric
oh,
stuff.
that's nice.
Sure.
Yes.
Oh, traction. Yeah. Yeah, mine was that to me, but he can do it. I'm not so bad. He can just do it with his, he can just grab my head.
Except for,
Oh, shit.
That's nice for you to take care of your brother and his
Guess we got it more often. I'm gonna get you some, it's, yeah. I'm gonna get you some, it's Terra, there's essential oils, but they've got a lotion, a deep lotion for pain and muscle joints. I want. Does that deep blue help? Does the deep blue lotion help? Not like the other stuff.
You should go down to my friend's cafe and do this on Saturday evening.
The one that you're trying to get together. I can pass on reservation. Say, not even
I might get you some Cobiva gels. Cobiva is premium. I forget how they describe it.
Yep.
That's funny. Anyway, Cobiva. I'm always making stuff. I'm always making lotions and potions. It's a pain.
Yeah, I think it's called the First Amendment.
Not constantly, because it's a pain, but we do.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I'm glad I got to talk to you for a minute, I need to go, okay?
Anymore, because if you can buy it off the counter, it's not good. Right.
Talk to you soon.
Unfortunately.
Talk to you later, David. Bye.
And Jim, just to let you know, I made all the comments on draft 7, and draft 8 is a lot different, so it's going to take a little bit to kind of go through comments and stuff. So I'll just be patient.
okay.
I came in and checked to see if you did.
your left, second door. And if you need water, coffee, or anything, they're in there, crumb cakes in the kitchen, that's
Thank you
right.
so much.
You did, it was great.
Ooh, it makes good. I can't even. I don't like it, but it's like.
Good for you. I have my baby brownie at home, I'm going to eat right before I came in. I'm like, let's save it. Yeah, there you go. Somebody's left keys. Okay, maybe they're chicken kids.
Well, they were in the refrigerator. That's the only thing you can report.
Seriously.
Isn't that cute?
That's adorable. That means I have to make some of them.
And I do good because I didn't get in there, I didn't say, this is the box.
Okay. Oh, man.
Do you want this copy or do you want to have up with you and just for reference? So this still needs to be made, right? She will.
Everything's been made except this last page, so, just so you know,
The specifics around the offering, yeah.
that was not in the last piece. So, just so you know.
That was some of the stuff that Lance had, that Schultz was here, offering has to be. And the other thing that's bad is ours, well, of course, it's in the zoning book, we gotta change too, is they're putting deciduous trees, 100 foot apart, well, that doesn't. That's something from the zoning, we need to know.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay.
just if you mention this as well.
Okay, and you got it, right, the incremental and. There you go. Here, wait.
Oh, awesome.
Just one extra.
Do you need it back?
It's the township, so they'll chase you down if you run.
Oh, you know what, let someone else look at it. But they already have one, right?
Town trustees and principal officer, have it.
Oh, I'll follow.
That's just extra.
Remind me, no, I'll get that. I won't forget.
Like I said, they'll run you down.
You got two deputies here, so.
You know, we have trouble with
Okay.
that.
Okay. I have a copy too.
Man, this looks so much different than mine, I won't know.
Well, the substance hasn't changed, but we had a comment that we needed to go down the road. So that's why
It looks different.
it looks different, but
Yeah.
the substance from the
Yeah.
committee has not changed.
I like it.
I'm gonna say last copy I have is this one.
Yeah, so we,
You want to go? Yeah. We're not the Fantastic Four.
It's pretty much, it's the same information, but minor editorial changes and color changes.
Oh, I like it better than these. Let's see. I mean, the red is really, better.
Good.
Maybe I'll sit with you and just follow along. We're going to here. Sit where you want to sit, I'll sit.
So I made a suggestion here. Swap means that make it more agricultural.
Is that page 95? Oh, I worked on, that's what I mostly worked on.
Yeah, because of the buffering.
That's what I
We
mostly
were
worked
talking
on.
about that, about the evergreen trees being better than the canopy trees, because the evergreen, 93.
It's so crazy for the older even adjourn the meeting before we dealt with Holly's leaving. So we had more.
Are you doing okay now?
Yeah, they didn't know whatever. Sure, I make the news tonight. I'm looking forward to the novel. You did. It's just so important. That's what I was thinking. Here, and we switched to here, but the large ones are ones. I think that's very fun. Right? So you just overcome what.
Yes, that's all.
Yeah. I knew Dave would have enough.
And what is it called? This one is ideally supposed to go in 20, 25 hours training. There's no way that everybody
Precisely.
wants it.
Right.
Well, you gotta do it
So, let's
because
get-
somebody's always got different opinions on what should be what.
And, again, as it says in the CNN rep, his it's not. His recommendation.
Deputy Bowden, you're looking for the other
So,
officer? Oh,
but ideally, ours is
I thought it was.
jump off and make it
Right, I mean,
tight.
we're providing advice.
Precisely.
We are not creating some.
And we can
Or
actually
if you want to, I mean, it's
take
good.
this, use it as a guide. This is not the law. The other is the law,
Correct.
which we have to do.
To reflect the sense of this.
Of this, yes.
And I don't know, I said, you would say, I say,
Now what? He's working in the closet.
Where you coming to be at?
Who
You
did?
don't wanna be standing out here next to the statue.
can sit there. I'm here.
No, I'm good, I'm more like Stripe out of nowhere.
Oh my God. Only the shadow knows.
Is there a folding chair in there?
There's lots there.
That's a chair. Oh, that's a whole chair. Yeah, there's a bunch of chairs.
you can roll right out.
Yeah.
All right, so
Here's what I said, I pulled out the call on.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, they're gonna come out. And you asked me that before.
mine are right here.
Just got this one.
This, and then mine would be a story.
Is the buffering?
Yes. The specific. Mine would be.
So that's the only thing.
Minimize.
Yeah, because we have discussed, just in our, before, they had a meeting last week.
For anything,
Talking about
Always do use it.
it's for anytime,
They would fail to protect the canopy ones.
So that's on the,
Tend
it's
to
on the
go,
non-business.
so therefore,
I'm looking at who
we
the
thought maybe that would be a recommendation to put in the book
Yeah.
as a whole.
for the commercial
There
side.
could be a general mention, and then, yes.
Well, that's interesting. You can pull video pretty quick when you, when you want to.
Yes, that's what I was thinking, I know this is just a guide.
I poked your last week and you didn't give us a reply.
Yeah.
No, it is pretty interesting. some people operate around here. Yeah. That volume doesn't, you've been exposed. That's the time we get. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, it is.
I did not know.
It's really good.
Another one of your former kids. Yeah, you just, you can't buy enough to hold it. Sorry. No, it's called integrity. Me, years were ran out of here when we keep calling the sheriff. Oh my God. Did you see it? Mr. Evans? I've got it on audio. Yeah. You're running out.
I can't be in there. I can't be in there.
It's a pack for us.
$851. 181,000.
No, not yet. Oh, is the front door locked?
Yes.
I'm not my business, I'm just curious.
Amazing how fast that video is available. See? That's gonna be There's stands available on Amazon.
And the look of it, the table like colors and everything. Yeah. There is some discussion, we just got some, including sports and
Hey Judy, how are you doing? I do. Don't say no, I care.
You don't even know I'm paying unless it's more on.
My freckles got a little bit darker. My mom said, you got a tan. Well,
No.
I call to order the Etna Township Board of Trustees special meeting here on Monday, August 25th, 2025 at 6 p.m. Roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
Here.
Mr. Burkholder?
Here.
Ms. McKee?
Here. Will you join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Move to adopt the agenda. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And just a quick discussion, just for clarification, typically we do an invocation Why have they been being left off here recently?
No, that's not true. We don't do them on regular meetings. I mean, this is a special meeting.
So we don't okay. When was that decided?
Again.
I don't know, Mr. Evans.
You wanna do it? I mean,
No, I'm just wondering.
you can do it. Let's let Mr. Evans stand in front of you guys. Everybody stand.
I am wondering.
Come on, let's go. Say a prayer.
I was asking.
We're gonna have a roll call on the agenda, please.
Mr. Evans?
No, I don't politicize bourbon. Yes.
What are we talking about now? Mr. Burkholder?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
Okay, we'll get to old business now, the comprehensive future land use plan work session. This is a work session in order to move along the comprehensive land use plan. First, I'm going to introduce neighborhood strategies, but first I want to thank everyone, including neighborhood strategies, and also our zoning commission that put quite a bit of time in this to go back through again and find some edits. Also, our Christina, who was our MORPC intern, who worked quite a bit with neighborhood strategies as well. So I really appreciate everyone that kind of pulled together so we could go through and see what changes need to be made, have some discussion on this, and try to get this across the finish line. With that, I'll introduce Jim Leonard with Neighborhood Strategies. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Mr. President. Also want to introduce Stephanie McManus, our managing principal, who's been working on the plan as well. So this evening, you were given a hard copy of the plan earlier today, an email version of the PDF.
Yes.
You were also given two other pieces of paper, literature, memos. One was the creation of the comprehensive plan, kind of an overview of the timeline, plus a narrative of how things occurred over the past 3 years. So not going to go over it verbatim, but did want to provide that for your records as well. The other item given to you was just a high-level 5-page outline of the plan. The plan itself is 130 pages. This outline is simply just that. So just as a quick reference. Also given a 11 by 17 copy of the future land use map as drafted. Also have a large copy up here. I will note the size and shape of Edna Township makes it really hard to put into a document where it's very easily legible to see. So we did our best. We've actually attempted to do that on all the maps of clarifying that, reducing the amount of background noise in those maps for ease of use. So, stuff, tell me, go straight. First and foremost, I'll send or give my appreciation to the township again for letting us work on this. Also for introducing us to Christina because she's joining our team as an intern.
Really? Yes.
So, yep, just after Labor Day, once she gets settled in at school,
Yeah.
we offer her an internship for the first semester. So we do appreciate you bringing her to our attention.
Yes.
We worked great with her and did appreciate what she did for us. So yeah, as you see on, I'm going to jump back to the plan creation process. We've been in these meetings quite some time, about 17 public meetings between the Community Advisory Committee, the trustees, the zoning commission. So we present this as the final plan draft to you. Obviously, the plan itself can change. It should change. We advise in the last article to have an implementation committee so that it's housed with someone. You are busy, the zoning commission's busy, so we recommended creating a separate implementation committee to continue to make sure someone has eyes on this plan quarterly, every 6 months, whatever it may be. So we do not need this thing sitting on the shelf, especially being a high growth area such as Edna Township. So I'll say all of the bulk content, the stuff that means the most to the township has not changed since the zoning commission saw it, since the community advisory committee saw it as well, and both boards adopted or passed unanimously the contents of the plan. What has changed over the last 12, 16, 18 months is editorial comments, things of clarification of nature, this word should be that word and whatnot. So we also updated all the maps, as I said, to make them a little bit more legible, as best as we could. And so what you see here tonight, again, was approved by two other bodies. From a planning standpoint and a local government standpoint, any substantive change that, and this is just our opinion, that happens to this document should go back through a process, because the document that the CAC passed, the document that the zoning commission passed is what you see in front of you here tonight. Anything of substance, I think, or we think, our recommendation is to have it reviewed one more time. So.
I do have a question.
Yes.
You're presenting this on page 22, present day, final neighborhood strategy presentation for comprehensive plan to township for adoption consideration. This has not been discussed by the board yet?
Not tonight.
No, but for consideration for adoption. It's gone through the committee, it's gone through the zoning commission, we haven't had it in outside discussion. That's been my concern, that there's been a lot of push for behind the scenes, okay, yeah, this is right, and this is what we're gonna vote on. I really think we still need a robust debate on densities, buffering, and some other factors in this. So to me, I consider this a draft, final draft, number 8. Again, we just got it today from the zoning commission, but I think there still needs to be quite a few changes in here. Is that part of, because again, reading this, here's consideration for adoption.
Sure.
Emphasis on the word consideration, and it is at the request of the whole committee here, the whole board, to review it and decide whether or not it's ready for adoption or if a few changes need to be made. And as Jim pointed out, it's also designed to be periodically updated, and I believe that it will be frequently, considering you're a high growth area, and that there should be a process in place for which to do that, right? Do you want the implementation committee and the zoning commission to be able to review it quarterly, every 6 months? Because Trustee Evans, I agree that there could be changes that come up even after what you think may need to be updated tonight. So I think that's why we chose that wording. It says be considered for adoption.
Hi Jackie, this is Smith.
Correct, and that was one of the impetus for this meeting, and the reason we labeled it a work session is so that all 3 trustees, and of course it's an open meeting so the public could observe, which is why, Mr. Evans, you have had concerns, and I do too, regarding the density and buffering, and so that's why we reached out to our neighborhood strategies to get your comments, which could be expressed here publicly tonight. Those are probably 2 of the key areas, and if I may, the zoning commission brought up those same 2 factors. When Lance Schultz was here, our planning consultant, with his experience with buffering and everything, he had some comments. The zoning commission, we have a summary here. They've worked to consolidate, or I should say compile, many of the things they noticed. Some of those, as Mr. Leonard has expressed, are minor edits. And then, of course, the more substantive things regarding the densities and the buffering. And some of that buffering there's another page to these comments that I gave to neighborhood strategies tonight. So, go ahead.
Do it, just a quick question, Mr. Lance's comments on buffering and that, do we have those available for the board?
We can try to find those, yes. I know Christina worked on those.
Because I think it's only appropriate that we see what was said, what was recommended, not just, hey, what was kind of changed, because still maybe we disagree, or we want to see what their thought process was. And, oh yeah, maybe that does make sense, how they framed it. Sure. Instead of just starting from 0 and, okay, then having to talk about it also.
May I add one extra point of clarification before you proceed?
Yes, absolutely.
Just so you know that there could be a basic recommendation for vote that's added to this, and of course is reviewed by you all, the zoning commission and the committee, regarding buffering and density changes. That could be general recommendations in your comprehensive plan, and then addressed more in depth from a regulation standpoint in the actual zoning as you go to update your zoning. just to set the stage for how that might look as you adapt what we've got here in this draft to what you all think might fit better with after your more recent conversations. And then it would be our recommendation that as you go into your zoning rewrite, which I believe you're undertaking right now, you have not started that yet? Okay, or you're about to?
No, that is not, I mean, that was proposed at one time, we did not move forward with it, and that's one of my concerns is there a need for a total rewrite, when we're going to be trying to maintain farmland? These are, like, why are we rewriting if what is in our current code could accommodate that, where you're developing PMUD, but based on the future land use here? When we're doing, I'm concerned about the difficulty in getting, this is on its third year, and now you're talking about a zoning change, a complete zoning overhaul.
To be clear, this was not a suggestion that we would work on that. This is just what would be the next step after you update your comprehensive plan.
Correct.
Is usually reviewing your zoning for whether that is an update, you know, that's not a complete rewrite, or whether that is needing to be a rewrite. It would be just recommendations included in the comprehensive plan that might have trigger points, right? So once you reach X, Y, Z, you would then look at updating the buffering section, or maybe you want that path right now, right?
And I guess we could get to it later, but like your single family, I think it's the SRR or whatever it's in there. That's 1 unit per acre net available in that. I do believe we have equivalent zoning right now for that. My question is, why wouldn't we just say, okay, that would be R1? And then we're gonna, instead of we've got planned residential, which is really a lot higher density. It just, I'm not sure if there's really need for rewriting the whole code. But that's one of my questions and concerns in here about form-based and also those major changes. Because our comp plan and those, it really hasn't been followed since it was implemented in 11. If you look at every LCPC recommendation, everyone pretty much says this does not follow your comprehensive plan. If you do this, you should change your comprehensive plan, and they just never did. It just, so.
Yeah, obviously
There's a lot of different ways to go.
Absolutely, zoning, you know, how you do that is up to the creator. So, understood.
Well, I'll put on that, just for the sake of the meeting, well over a year ago, we went and had a proposal to redo the zoning, and there was extensive, in fact, we have some of the land use committee members here tonight, and there was extensive discussion about, once we got the comprehensive land use plan adopted, we did need to go and do a rewrite of our zoning. It's not been updated in a long time. We also, as staff and as trustees, have found numerous things that have never even been updated at the county relative to the zoning map. So that's been an ongoing process too. We went back 10 years, we're finding even more things, went back through the minutes, went through the zoning resolution, the zoning recommendations, went through the township resolution. So I still believe strongly that there needs to be a complete rewrite, even some of the ones we have now, that would include buffering as well, with a rapid amount of growth here, so.
Well, just quickly, I'd just like to say there's a difference between our zoning code and documenting zoning changes. They're two totally, we couldn't find zoning, rezoning for PMUD from 2021. That's nothing to do with our code, how it's appropriate for development or anything like that. But my concern is, number one, make sure you get it right, but for the push to rewrite the zoning code before we even determine how we're gonna do it, because what if we determine that, nope, what we have, the PRCD, the this, the that, that's really what's more important or more appropriate. So I think it's getting the cart before the horse of, yeah, we're gonna rewrite it, and this is just kind of rubber stamping. I think this is critical for our future.
Well, it is, and let me just explain something. A resolution was brought and it failed 2-1. But now we're focusing on the land use plan. We'll get back to that, but I just wanted to make it perfectly clear that at one point that was being considered to follow right after this. So, Jim, do you have the floor? Is there anything else?
Yes. So, to address Mr. Evans, your comment, from a certified planner standpoint, from a company standpoint, I'd recommend your RFP say, evaluate our code. Tell us against the comp plan, what is good or bad. Firms will do that because they want to know what they're getting into. So take that into your RFP, so you know, is the township getting into a rewrite, or are we just doing a whole bunch of amendments? So.
Agreed.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna go through the plan. Again, the process is clearly defined in the document we gave you. Thanks to Steph for creating all that and working diligently to do that. But, so the plan is broken up into elements. Element 1, existing conditions. Element 2 is transportation, probably one of the more important elements. Parks and Rec is 3, environment 4, land use, that's the one everyone pays attention to, is 5, education 6, 7, water and wastewater. That had to change with the reinvention of the district. You know, we changed all that information as well. Economic development, housing, and implementation. So some big changes that happen, or not big changes, some things that I want to make sure not only the trustees understand, but anyone watching or listening, is not to get hooked on density per se. So I know it's really easy to do, but if you follow the intent and the way in which this document is created, density is part of the development discussion. So is open space, so is pedestrian connectivity, so is density in some parts of the township, so is rural preservation in some parts of the township. So I think it's just really important to reiterate that the document shouldn't just be used for the density chart. That is important. Don't get me wrong by any stretch. But if you do everything else with the intent in which this is written, thanks to the committee, thanks to the zoning commission, I think you have a bright future for development in that township. So, but I also admit density is very important. So that being said, Steph, I don't know if I should hit anything else. Happy to answer any questions. Obviously, the committee, a lot of committee members here, zoning commissions here, they can speak as well in the process.
I don't know if you want to speak on, addressing some of the comments or the recommendations we've just heard tonight about buffering and density, just how we would address those in the comprehensive plan on a high level. As I mentioned just a minute ago, that it would not go necessarily into specifics or regulation. That's what would result later on if you do an audit, or if you will, of the zoning as it stands in its current form, and then would be updated in your actual zoning code or ordinance to be more specific. It's much easier to regulate that way. But I don't know if you want to mention what that could look like, a section included around that, or change.
Yeah, it could be updated. To Steph's point, we did receive some comments about the buffers. They look at first glance pretty minor. They're increasing the buffer, which I think everyone in the room is probably going to nod their head in agreement with. Density, I don't know where that's going to Mr. Evans' point about public comment and your public procedures section. Obviously, we'll create this document. We have it in Microsoft Word, so it's very easily to edit. And yeah, so I don't know if that was.
One question I do have is if and until we do change zoning, our current zoning requires that any of the PMUDs, any of the PUDs and that comply with this, that follow this. So I don't think it would be wise to leave it in and then say, well, we'll change it out, because if there is any challenges, they would look at it and say, hey, it says that's the buffering in there, so why aren't we allowed to do that? Because in a lot of jurisdictions, this is only advisory, but ours actually says shall comply with the comprehensive plan.
Which is best practice, right? Because you want to be able to honor the plan that you set forth for your community, right? So I think that that's where you find that sweet spot between what you're recommending in there, because you want this to have some longevity, even though you're updating, you don't want to have to completely rewrite it anytime, probably for the next 5 years. Right? In this area, I think we're facing rewrites of comp plans more frequently than we used to, thanks to the past 5 years. So, Jim, correct me if I'm wrong, that you would have language in here that wouldn't get too specific so that you're backed into a corner that way, but that would provide the overall vision for what the community wants to see around density in certain areas, especially as it's related to the future land use map.
Right.
And then the same with, the same approach to the buffering as well, and mention of, preference of evergreen over deciduous trees and things like that.
And the other question is, how do we want to proceed with this? Because I compared the draft 6 to draft 7. Again, draft 8 wasn't until today. Made all the comments on there. I tried to quickly do through Adobe Acrobat compare. There's just about 1,000 text changes that it comes up because you reformatted everything. So it wasn't easy to redo. I mean, are we planning to go page by page and look at it, or is today just density and buffering, and then we can talk about the other stuff later? That I'd be more than happy to send all the minor comments, but I believe that the density and buffering should be a public comment about where those are heading.
Well, that's one of the reasons we reached out, Mr. Evans, and had asked for your thoughts on that. If you haven't, this is a great opportunity at this public work session specifically, and I think all of us are concerned about density, but what specifically, you didn't like the formula?
Well, I wasn't involved in the process, but a couple times I would watch the live stream. And originally in the planned residential district, it was proposed 5 gross. And let's just take what everybody knows, the old Hagee property. Currently, that is under PRCD with 1 or 1.2 with the bonus density with the trails and all that stuff. Gives about 173. That gross would have given over 750 homes. Now, during that process, when you went from 5 and you were talking about changing, what I heard was, well, what do you guys think about 4? What do you think about 3? Like, there was no, this is the type of neighborhood that kind of exemplifies, a 4 or a 3.5 or I didn't get the feeling that there was a lot of discussion about what the real meaning was. It was just a number being thrown out of, 3 sounds good, but what's the real effect compared with the open space requirements? And what's that look like? And is that feasible? And is 50, I know on one of them is 50% and 40%, and a lot of, in Harrison Township, they're concerned about mandating all the open spaces. And in that township, we used to have them dedicated to us, like turn it over to us, but they maintain. But what if they can't maintain? And then it's our responsibility. What's the enforcement? And so, do we want 50%? Is even 50% reasonable to say you have to have 50%? Where maybe the intention is usability, function, like a good neighborhood. Again, was 50% just thrown out? 40, 30, that's my concern. And again, even at the current 3 with the net density, and I think that was another one of my comments here about the calculation for net density of how it should be calculated, of the wetlands, the floodplains, anything for retention, detention bodies of water, utilities above ground, or those, so it's explicit. But even with that at 3 for the Hagee property, it's about 450, which the township turned down 336. So, and I know one of the reasons stated for putting the higher density of the west was to protect from annexation, but we have an annexation agreement, which I don't think that really pertains to it there. But one of the concerns also is connecting to existing neighborhoods without sidewalks. So if you have higher density, you got a lot more traffic coming through, people with sidewalks, people without. I know Russell Heights, my neighborhood, everybody, kids use the road as a walkway, as a sidewalk. So that's, I think, the reason for lower density. And I just want to make sure that it's well thought out. And 2, maybe you can get a higher density and have a great neighborhood, but are there examples? Can you point to hey, this is a 2.5 or 3.5, and this is how they laid it out. These are the lot sizes, and to use instead of, 3 sounds good.
Yeah, sure, yeah, but there's so, every neighborhood is nuanced, you know? Is it, where we deal with variances and all that stuff, to trudge up all that information of what those densities are is a load of work, you know? So, when we did talk about these units, what I think is appropriate, what you think, whoever picked, it's all out there in the ethos of what everybody thinks is appropriate, right? So that is why when we started at 5, I think we even went higher than that at the start, and then finally made our way down to 3 with those numbers. People were able to live with it, knowing that there's other items of interest, trails, open space, things like that, that must be accompanied in a development. So, no, we didn't have, hey, Cumberland Trails is density X, open space Y. No, we didn't do that, because that just wasn't in the purview. That's not what we usually do with comprehensive planning.
And just to point out that a lot of your great points that you brought up were discussed at great length by the committee. I think most of you, many of you are here tonight, that it was discussed at great length. And to Jim's point, trying not to get too in the weeds with things and have that be more in your zoning as at a future point. If it needs to be updated, fine, but you know, trying to get into that regulatory, applying for this particular area, this parcel, this community, having that baked into your zoning rather than getting too specific in your actual comprehensive plan, because it could corner you into being over-regulated in this document versus your zoning ordinance.
And we did Harrison Townships, and that, to your open space comment, they said, no way do we want open space in this township because of the defaulting neighborhoods and stuff like that, so.
And that's where I think we should have a conversation of, is that a real concern? Is it real? Should we have it deeded to us? Should we, I mean, I don't know if the developers want that because they're not paying tax on, the real estate tax on that part. Is that a reason they're kind of pushing it? Like,
But if they
we'll
gave it
deed
to you, they wouldn't be paying on it anyway if they gave it to you.
No, but I'm saying if they retained it, they would be paying that value of that land.
Usually if it's labeled as open space, the
It's
auditor
not
doesn't,
much.
if at all. If it's platted as open space, if it's platted as a reserve, the auditor believes that's gonna be built in the future.
Okay.
If you label it as open space, there's no tax.
Well, that's, and I didn't have that information, so, and again, that was one of my questions there, but I think density is important again to, the schools are very interested in it. I mean, we just had a bond fail for building new schools. Our road systems, I do have concerns about the village center, and I think it's 12 per acre.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yep.
Because we've got highly dense development behind Speedway, which I think it's over 600 plus apartments just in phase 1, plus the housing, the duplex, the single family, all that stuff. And do we really want to put more here with 310 and 40? And I mean, we're already talking. Pataska reached out to cooperate and with ODOT on the 310 refugee intersection. Do we really want to, with that huge development already, do we want to increase it here on Pike Street? Or do we want to keep it more quaint, more lower density? Because what's the current density right now per acre of what's in here? About, if you had to guess, the housing right here, of the lot sizes and
You're probably, I would assume you're.
the 6 per acre or higher?
I was gonna say 8, but don't quote me.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, that, just looking at the land use map, and it might be easier if we actually, if you don't mind me pointing it out on the map
Please do.
itself. So I think we're discussing the red areas, right?
Just this one.
Yeah, the brighter red area. So the idea was to centralize any density that might occur, knowing that that is a pressure on the community here, to And that is a tactic that a lot of communities in Licking County right now have been utilizing to try and preserve as much as possible either their larger lot densities or their agricultural and rural areas.
When are we funneling more into the, like 310 and 40, the intersection was already approved. It's already an operational failure because it can't handle it. It really needed 2 turn lanes. So and now and that development hasn't even hit yet. We've got JVW, we've got the Drayton going to be coming online. There's a lot, and there's that big area for that village center, and pretty much already, I mean, it's already PMPD in that. Same with kind of across the streets with, Redwood. So do we want to increase it, or do we want to figure out what this is and say, fine, if you want to replace the housing here, kind of match it, not increase. If it's an 8, do we really want to go to a 12 and put more congestion in this area?
And could I also, sorry, Jim.
I'll keep it up here, go for it.
Just pointing out that this is also a tool, once complete and adopted, for you to request funding from a lot of different sources, right? And advocacy at the state, maybe even the federal level at some point. Here are our plans, this is our future land use map. We need to address some of these issues that you're mentioning right now proactively, because as a community, we've decided this area might look like X, Y, Z moving into the future.
Jim, I got a couple questions. Is there a standard calculation model to calculate density? Because I know we had discussion at the land use committee, different ways, net, gross, and that's one of the things we want to make sure. Is there a standard one? And 2, I think the concern is once you adopt a plan, because we have inquiries almost every week and proposals for apartments or higher density, will they be using this plan to justify when they come for rezoning that, well, according to your plan, we can build a higher density? I think that's some of the concern, although I agree, the fine tuning of the regulation takes place in the zoning text.
I'll answer the second one. That was the easy one. Yes, they are going to use this to justify the request.
They already are. We've got a D.R. Horton in for 770 homes, and they're using the, I think, February 2024 version, speaking as if it was passed, that, hey, it complies with yours, as that we didn't adopt it.
It's not adopted.
Right.
Yeah.
What was the first part of that, Gary? I'm sorry.
A standardized calculation, because there seems to be, I know during our discussion, well, do we use this formula? Is it gross? Is it net? How does it tie into the, and I realize you can't document every possible scenario. Like you said, every area is different.
Yeah.
But obviously there is a concern with the schools and the amount of densities, and of course, given the shortage of housing, plus Reynoldsburg has a philosophy of high density, and I guess trying to find that magic spot where you don't overcrowd the schools, but yet there will be development out here. People do have a right to develop their ground and request rezonings and the like. Doesn't mean it'll get approved, but.
Well,
Right.
on net density versus gross net, our current zoning feature is just net density.
And we
All
stopped at
discussion
that
is
here.
net.
We did have gross and net, but it got to be confusing. We are just net in the common land.
Yeah. And net for ours is the total land minus right-of-way for streets and utilities, wetlands, floodplains, slopes greater than 20%, above ground utility right-of-ways, all bodies of water, including retention and detention ponds.
Sounds like a good list. The only thing sometimes people change is the last one. If they incorporate ponds into some sort of active, put a gazebo on it, do that, then that doesn't get it done. But yeah, it's in the eye of the beholder like anything else of what you consider as net density. And it sounds like you guys have a pretty darn good list going as it is. So to answer your question, Gary, no, there isn't a magic formula. Great state of Ohio is home rule, and we get to, or you get to do as you choose. Could I address the village center? Comment? So, yeah, to Steph's point earlier about creating a center, and then Mark, you mentioned the traffic and everything. What is crucial in Village Center is not to just build 12 units per acre, it's to make sure there's mixed use so people don't have to get in their car if they don't want to drive somewhere, they can get out and walk. So you're trying to reduce those vehicle trips
Yes.
out of the units. You're trying to have a denser area for empty nesters or recent college graduates, kind of have that one place in here that is on three major roadways.
Yeah.
Granted, it's already congested, but the premise is to create a walkable
Walkable community.
community where people don't have to get in their cars and get on 310. They can walk an alley and a street